My cheating wife begged and spite everything out and asked forgiveness, but she will face the consequences she deserves. Hello Reddit eyes here. It was 2 weeks ago when everything changed. I came home expecting an ordinary evening, but instead I found Jill, my wife, sitting on the couch. She was smoking, which she never did, and staring blankly at the floor. Something was off. My gut told me, but I tried to brush it off. She said we needed to talk, a phrase we all dread but don't expect to lead to the wrecking ball that followed. Jill didn't beat around the bush. She looked at me, eyes full of guilt, and said, "You're free to hate me, but I need you to know, I love you. I've only ever loved you." My mind raced. What could she have done? Lost something valuable? Scratched the car? I couldn't prepare myself for what came next. I had an affair. Her words hit me like a sledgehammer. I couldn't speak. I couldn't think. How could she, the woman I respected for her unshakable morals, say this? Jill was the one who always said, "The world is a shitty place, but that's no excuse to be shitty." And yet here she was, admitting to doing exactly that. The affair lasted a month, back in November, and ended in December, but she had been carrying the guilt around ever since. She could have buried it, and we could have gone on as if nothing happened. But she couldn't live with herself anymore. She showed me that she had blocked the guy on everything, even showed me their old chats, where she spoke about me in nothing but positive terms. But what did that matter? She still did it. At first, I didn't even realize what was happening. I thought we could just fix this. If she was genuinely remorseful, couldn't we just move on? But then, the weight of her betrayal began to sink in. I didn't even get angry. Not in that explosive way you see in the movies. It was more like a quiet storm brewing inside me. I told her that one of us had to leave for a while, and she went to stay at her sister's place. Now I'm alone in this big, cold apartment. The bed feels massive without her next to me. And she's apparently a wreck. Her sister told me Jill spends all day in bed, barely eating. We text occasionally, but I haven't seen her since she left. She keeps saying she'll accept whatever decision I make, whether it's fighting for our marriage or walking away for good. I've been stuck in this emotional limbo, drowning in sadness. How did I lose my wife and best friend like this? And the only anger I feel, really, is that if she had just kept her mouth shut, we wouldn't be in this mess at all. But life doesn't work like that, does it? 3 weeks after her confession, we agreed to meet. I told her to write a full handwritten account of her affair, every detail. I wanted her to list out exactly what she was willing to do to make things right. I wanted to see how far she was willing to go. Her sister, Chiara, offered her place as neutral ground and stayed in the next room just in case things got too heated. When Jill walked in, my heart sank. She looked like hell, pale, eyes red from all the crying, but she had obviously tried to pull herself together. She even managed to compliment me, saying I looked good. I didn't know how to respond. She asked for a hug and I gave it to her, though it felt like hugging a stranger. Then we got down to business. First, the letter. 9 handwritten pages detailing everything. It was brutal. She didn't sugarcoat anything. How it started, what they did, how she would come back to me after being with him, the whole disgusting truth. Some parts were cold and clinical, others filled with introspection and guilt, and some even seemed smug. I was seeing a side of Jill I didn't know existed. She confessed that while she knew she was hurting me, she enjoyed herself too much in the moment to care. That hurt the most. Next came her proposals for how to rebuild trust. Constant accountability, providing proof of her whereabouts, waiting for me outside of work, never giving me any reason to doubt her again. Her suggestions were concrete, and she said she'd accept any further conditions I set without question. I told her that if we were to continue, she'd be on a short leash for a long time, and every shred of trust would have to be earned. She agreed. No hesitation. I also told her I was still going to see a lawyer and draft divorce papers, just in case. At those words, her face crumpled, but she didn't cry. She just nodded and said, "I understand." I laid out the rest. She would have to go to therapy, on her own dime. We'd remain separated for now, and if her sister couldn't house her, she'd need to find her own place. Again, she agreed. Then she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You don't deserve any of this. You deserve someone who won't betray you, someone who makes you as happy as you make them." I agreed. Then, before my emotions overtook me, I ended the conversation. We hugged again, more out of habit than desire, and she whispered, "Whatever happens, I will always love you. I'm so sorry for what I did to us." On the way out, I had a brief chat with her sister, Chiara. She overheard most of the conversation and told me she found my terms fair. But then she said something that stuck with me. She agreed that I didn't deserve this, and it's full of women out there who would love me right. She admitted that this Jill wasn't the big sister she once admired. She loved and pitied her now, but she didn't respect her anymore. And if I let Jill walk all over me, if I don't hold her accountable, Chiara said she wouldn't respect me either. That hit hard. She made it clear. If I allowed Jill's remorse to be hollow, she'd lose respect for me too. And now I'm left wondering, Is it worth saving what's left, or should I just let it go?